so that we can get this for everybody because we know we've got people on the replay. So appreciate that, Lashina, is that we are in day two of Reclaim Your Power, breaking the chains of sexual trauma. This is prioritizing your health. So we are today's focus is going to be we're going to get to that anxiety piece that you brought up, Lashina. I've got some awareness that dropped in based on what you all shared yesterday that I'm going to share if that's okay. I do have an announcement at the end and a special announcement, and we're going to do an isomatic healing technique, a very basic one to help to ground us, talk about the emotional purge, and then really why healing has to be the number one priority and how to prioritize that for yourself. Then we get into the Yoni love tomorrow. We get into a little sexy Shaki on Thursday. We're going to get a little bit deeper into it. But this is, like I said, how I'm being divinely guided. So we're definitely going to do some takeaways because we had that call was just fire for me, anyways. So let's start with our opening prayer. And I forgot to pull that up for myself. So I'm just going to see if I can remember that. I just go off the top. So my intention for today is that what is shared is of the highest good and mutual benefit of all sentient beings. I call in the presence of God, the Holy Spirit, and a legion of angels of the purest light and intention. I thank you for the gift of your presence and for surrounding us with love, guidance, support, and protection. And so it is. Yes. Okay, ladies, takeaways. Give it to me. What would you like to share after we've had like a full 24 hours to kind of just let it Lashina?
Well, I was able to watch the replay since I had to drop off early yesterday, and I was so aligned with what was shared about the promiscuity of a part of it, which I never, I think I did have some awareness that there may have been some tie to it, but literally I could have been a hoe if I didn't have like such a strict religious background that kept me from that because I could just remember being in school and all of the little boys were, they were just horny and I'm like, man, I just want to give them some so they just be quiet. Like that was like my mindset, and I had no idea why. And so that was very interesting to hear that part of it. And then as I turned in my 20s, then I do feel as if then everything did open up where I was just free for all kind of thing. So it was just whatever. Whatever came is what came.
You know what?
So
Yeah, I love that. I love that because it's like a part that a lot of those who've been through the trauma just kind of like, oh no, that's just the normal part of whatever. And it is and it isn't, if you know what I mean. It is and it isn't. So promiscuity, hypersexuality is definitely an echo of sexual trauma. And I think it's important for us as women have experienced it just to be okay with it, to not shame ourselves any further about it, because there could be some repercussions as a result of it. I know that some women have had abortions, and we need not to shame each other if anyone's had an abortion. It's like, yeah, no, that's a whole topic for another day. And there are women who actually do sell their bodies, and they don't necessarily have the awareness of why. And for me, it's because, and I think I mentioned this briefly yesterday, is that that's how we've connected sex with love.
yeah.
I know for me personally, it was a family member, and so to me, I got the message that that was the only attention I was going to get because I came from a very big, busy family, stressed family, financially stressed, and so there wasn't a lot of attention to be given. There
Hmm.
were just too many babies lying around. So to me, that was the attention I got. Oh, that's how I can get someone to love me,
Yeah.
and so it is what it is, right? And I love that you shared that. So what about you, Tracy?
Um, I think actually the biggest takeaway for me was the the feeling of safety. With that has been a huge thing for me just in my life, just safety, all the way around, wherever I'm at, and selecting um safe spaces, me choosing safe spaces to be in as well, and to participate in. And I felt I think you asked a question yesterday, and I don't know if it was related to one of my comments or if it was just in general, when you were speaking, but you mentioned something about, there was a question about possibly feeling any shame around what was spoken. And and I had to sit for a second because I was like, do I feel shame? Because that was something that I was so used to feeling that I never actually pointed it out. I just operated from that feeling.
Mm,
So yesterday I was able to to see that I've I've processed out the shame because I felt no shame. And that was the first time that I shared, that very, I can't even say it's intimate anymore because it wasn't even me,
mm,
going around, being promiscuous. That wasn't even me. So I take away that the joy that I don't feel shame in that, but it's a connection with also feeling in a safe space, to be able to share. And that is extremely important, like that is just, I don't know, I feel like it's more important than actually sharing, just to have that energy of safety, um, not feeling alone. Um, what else did I take away? Yeah, there's so many things that actually are that revolve around shame. Even like how people show up, how we present ourselves. Everybody's in their own, doing their own thing in their own life. They got different things going on. But one of the things that I guess I kind of noticed that's being brought to me right now is that in the past, with different groups that I've been in, for healing, okay, I don't know how to express this. Um, this is just another level of healing based on literally how you guys are presenting yourself. You're showing up. You put effort into your care. Like some other groups, people are showing up still looking very damaged, if that makes sense.
mm.
And not from a judgmental place
Sure,
at all.
sure.
Um, but when we heal on the inside, it then comes onto the outside. And so I guess what I'm saying is that I found myself still going back to these, I was trauma bonding in these other groups.
Ooh,
Oh, golly. Ooh, that's a whole release that I didn't even know. I was trauma bonding in these other groups, so I wasn't receiving healing. And day one, there's healing that has taken place, and more monumental than I can actually explain in day one, or on day two from day one. So, all right, I'm done.
no, no, absolutely.
Y'all know I'm long-winded, so
No, you did good, Mama. You did good. Isheen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We got our core group here, so we just did a quick overview. We are getting to the Yoni Lovin and a little Shakti energy later this week. We're just doing some takeaways right now, and Lashina had shared something around the promiscuity that like that as an echo of sexual trauma, which we can all relate to. And then Tracy also shared the same. And then you just caught the end of it, really feeling safe, not like you said, just being in the energy of knowing that you're safe and just being you. And it just in general in the world, I think we need to echo that out into the world. And one of the challenges with why things might not be unfolding the way anyone might expect is because am I safe enough? That's that inner child that says, am I safe here? And sexual trauma, like you're not, you're getting right into that sexual energy, creative life force energy. And if you can't feel safe in your body, how are you going to expect to feel safe going out in the world? So it's not even a subconscious belief. I believe it becomes so ingrained in the cellular memory, it's actually even unconscious at times. And even when we come, and I say we, because even when we come into this conscious awareness and we know that it's about safety, it just still takes time to process the healing of that. So the awareness is the first step, and then just making sure that we tap into the intuition and align ourselves with the right people for us who are going to help us to continue to heal. Life is an ongoing healing and transformational journey. Anyone who thinks, I'm done, that's the ego. Okay. And for me, am I still on a healing journey? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to keep evolving as long as I can keep evolving. Okay. And yet, like Tracy is saying, there's different points along the journey. Are you in a point where you can show up and help people in a way that they need to be helped on their journey so that they continue to be helping others, which is what we're all doing here. So I love that you shared that, Tracy, and I love what you shared as well, Lashina. So, Ashina, I'm curious if you had any particular takeaways that you wanted to share.
Oh, can I think of one? I had many. Um, ah, I'm sorry. I didn't come prepared for the question. And so what's coming to my mind is that promiscuity piece and um, guilt, shame around it. This is just coming up for me. So I'm glad Tracy had opened up about it. And that this is a safe space to talk about that. And what I'm feeling is are there guilt and shame still around that? And it's like it's one of those things that you don't think about, or I didn't. Like I'm like, oh, that was me in the past. But are there more wounds around that? What was happening during those times? What wound was presented that went unhealed? And another takeaway is how sexual trauma occurs, because a lot of times we think it's one particular way, but it's so many ways. And I was actually going to create a post around that today because I really, really feel like this is such an important topic. And people don't think about all the different ways sexual trauma had taken place in their life that makes it hard for them to really show up authentically in front of others in connection and things like those. So that's a big takeaway for me from yesterday as well. All right. Thank you.
No, I love it. I love how you said that to be able to show up authentically in a way that they can connect, which is so
Yes.
important. We've got to be authentic and we have to be able to somehow connect. And it's really key. And I have found that, there's that, especially sexual trauma, that there is such a core of shame. And sometimes it's so locked in. And I know for me personally, like I didn't even realize how deep it went for me. But it went beyond the promiscuity. For me, it went beyond the other echoes of trauma and the way that showed up in my life with my loved ones and my children. And I'm not saying I was a bad parent, but if I weren't in the middle of a healing crisis, I could have been more present with my children. However, I did the best that I could. So I think guilt and shame, and it's more shame than guilt because guilt is more about is is it's kind of like, okay, it just doesn't align with my values. I did something, okay, like I was out of integrity a little bit. So it is guilt too, whereas shame is just like just such intense embarrassment. Like I'm just so ashamed of my behavior. Like others are seeing me this way and I'm better than that and I want to be better than that. So I've always wondered what that distinction was, and that's what it is for me. And the shame for me is felt in my abdomen. I don't know about any of you. And then there's carried shame that's often felt in the neck. And carried shame is from the perpetrator. And I don't know if it's the word I necessarily want to use, but that's the role they chose to play is anybody who is sexually traumatizing or violating, especially a child. For me, it happened mostly throughout my childhood. Um, they don't have remorse. They have shut themselves off emotionally. They have numbed themselves for whatever reason. And because if they were feeling emotions, they would not have done what they were doing. So their own pain and trauma showed up. They were numb to that trauma and they projected the trauma onto me and any of you if it applies. And that's called carried shame. So not only is it your own shame, it's carried shame. And that's not really spoken about, but there is something known as carried shame, and there have, I don't know how they can come up with these scientific records, these statistics, but it's said that 90% of the shame that we carry is carried, I mean, excuse me, that we have is carried shame. So obviously there are tools and methods to help to alleviate, dispel. Obviously there's inner child work is what I do is inner yoni work. I just take it a step further, and use some, mix that with some tantric tools that I've become familiar with. So, yeah, I love it. And then not feeling alone, you mentioned too, Tracy, because a big part, unfortunately, of especially a journey where one has experienced any kind of trauma, especially sexual trauma, is feeling the loneliness. Because even if you're in a partnership and even if you have friends, there's just some part of a connection that doesn't quite go as deep or intimate as I think we would want. At least that's been my experience. And it's the experience that many others have shared with me. And again, it's because we're putting up that protective barrier, whether we're consciously aware of it or not, to keep ourselves safe. And that can create loneliness over time. And it's just, anyways, okay, I don't want to get too carried over, but I love these takeaways. I absolutely love them. I love that you're sharing, and I love that we're getting something out of this, and we've got this little cohesive, co-creative beauty of a gem going on here. So let's see where we are from here. Okay. I got my cheat sheets. Okay. So I did not address the anxiety yesterday, that you had mentioned. I mean, I'm going to do my best to be succinct because there's just so much there. Let me see if I can laser focus. At the very basic level, okay, and I know that you know this, Lasheen, I know that Tracy, and I know that Asheen, that you know this, is that trauma over time, you become hyper vigilant as to what, always aware of your environment, who you're around, okay? Because you got to keep yourself safe, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. Hypervigilance is a thing. So essentially, it's chronic stress because the chronic mode is, okay, I'm kind of heightened. My body is in survival mode, so my heart rate is going to increase. The blood is going to go to the extremities because I may need to fight. I may need to take off, take flight, and I got to protect myself. What that does is it automatically increases the levels of cortisol and adrenaline, and cortisol in particular, stress hormones, except in anybody who's experienced any kind of trauma, especially sexual trauma, those cortisol levels are always heightened. So here's a baseline that's normal. Most people, they have a stressful situation, they go back to baseline. And this kind of trauma, it doesn't go back to baseline. So there's chronic stress, which is why in sleep trouble, trouble sleeping, focusing is very common with this type of trauma. It is, what's I going to say? A sense of overwhelm. Because if your body is already here and you're trying to just deal with it day to day, and you've got all this stuff going on in here, unhealed trauma, any little situation can feel overwhelming. Overwhelming. Like there's just not enough time in the day. Okay. So so with the anxiety, you've got essentially anxiety is the feeling that one experiences when they're suppressing emotions that they're not necessarily aware of. And I've had debilitating anxiety. It is not fun. Debilitating anxiety. And so what it is at the very basic, as far as what I believe, is that you've got deep pain from that trauma. Pain could be sadness, hurt, grief, a sense of rejection, abandonment. Those are the thoughts that go with it. Okay. And then above that is anger, because anger is starting to take back your power Okay, you go from sadness to anger, but if suppressing the anger because oh no, I can't do that either because there's way too much anger, way too much rage, and I can't let that out because that could be dangerous, and I don't want others to see that. So what happens is anxiety comes in. Anxiety is simply the symptom of trying to keep those other emotions in. And let's not have shame about this, okay? Because I've had that debilitating anxiety. It's just a symptom of really trying to function because the emotions are so painful. Because here's the thing, you ever hear the only way to heal it is to feel it? It's true. You got to get in the chrysalis. It gets all messy and ugly and uncomfortable, but then once you get through it, you come out that beautiful butterfly. I know it's like, okay, cliche, but it's so true. And I know, I mean, it's not fun. I will speak personally. It is not fun. But I'm here where I am now at this moment, and I'll keep going because of the amount of discomfort that I've been willing to feel. Not willing, I think I've kind of, God came in and said, you're going to feel this now. You're going to feel this now every single day for 6 months at the deepest level. It's been more than that. But that's essentially what it is, because essentially you're not going back to the event itself or the series of events when the trauma occurred, but you are going back in. And what you're doing is because right now there's emotions attached to the event, okay? By healing, you're pulling away the emotional charge and you're neutralizing it. But in order to do that, you're not re-experiencing the actual event, but you are re-experiencing in healing the trauma, the emotions that were felt during that event. If they were, maybe they weren't. That's not fun. But it's a necessary part of the healing process. Because healing, if we don't heal each and every one of us as this collective consciousness, we're not going to elevate. We're not going to get to the unity, and we're doing it anyways. But to me, healing has to be the top priority. It's not, okay, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to have 15 million followers. I'm going to blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Healing has to be, I'm going to get the next bigger house or this or that. I'm mentioning material things because it'd be other aspects too. But like for me, I want the next best relationship. Yet I know healing has to come first. So I'm like, okay, let me focus on healing. Thank you, Mama. So Rasheen says, I'm so glad you're saying this. Yeah, and I'm going to share in a little bit. I'll share that in a little bit, how I've been able to support my own healing journey and prioritize my own healing journey. And it involved a lot of bold asks and a bold way of receiving and a lot of bold moves. Okay. So we'll share that. Okay. So we're out. Okay. So there's the anxiety. Does that help, Machina? You got a beautiful smile. Okay. I got some awareness too. We got beautiful smiles in this group. Here's the thing. I attract in those who have already well on their healing journey. This is not anything new. I know it. Well on your healing journey. And so you're open, like you're all here, you're visible, you're being vulnerable, you're sharing. And the reason I'm able to tap in is because on a soul level, you've given that permission. It's time. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's not judging anybody else who isn't quite there yet or not. It's just an observation. Divine timing. Okay, so let me see what else. Awareness. Okay, great. So is it okay if I share kind of what came in? It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, please.
Okay, love it, love it. Okay, so Asheen. Wow, we've got some powerful women here. So I got that you have this powerful grounding energy. All you have to do, I mean, you just sit you could be in the back of a room, a queen sitting there, and you probably already know this, and you were like, bing, 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 and everybody is being activated from the own light that you have within. So you're the more grounding, quiet type of grounding energy and embodying that divine feminine. And so you help to anchor in the goddess energy and the divine feminine energy. So it's yes, I'm on my throne. You could be in the front, the back, the up, the down, the side, east, west, north, south. You are anchoring it in with that.
I've had a lot of readings that said that.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. And I got Scorpio. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go that far, but I was like, yeah, okay, this girl. Okay. So I appreciate that you showing up that way. Lashina. We already know we spoke about this, but I got you were meant to be outspoken. You were meant like everybody's role is equally important, not always readily recognized and seen, but equally important. So you were meant to be the one that's kind of out there and really using your voice, which is why healing this sexual trauma is going to help you to get more of your voice back and to be able to share your truth authentically and to connect with others more with the voice. Yeah. So we've talking about this. I like we're talking podcasts, TV. You are meant to be visible. Your voice is the kind that's going to activate others. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, self-devotion. You're helping women to embrace self-devotion, self-acceptance, self-love, and you do it through your example, you do it through your words. So, yeah. And the societal shame too. I also got that you're going to be helping to bridge. You came from the deep south, right? There's, I just get societal shame that you're bridging gaps. Everyone here is bridging gaps, but you're the type of person that you just show up and you fit in wherever you show up because you're very open. And I also feel like with religion, you're able to find the commonalities between religion and different types of spirituality and different faiths. And that's really critically important to have that expansive perspective and to be able to bring those commonalities together. So, yeah, you all know that already, right? Asheen, go ahead.
All right. So I just want to say this is really big in the collective right now. I don't know if you ladies have experienced this or noticed this, but women are really being pushed into their, like what you just mentioned for Lashina, they're really being pushed to like be in their power and their strength. And especially when it comes to connections, a big time for it and trusting their intuition, especially with the divine masculine, that's really out there now. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Another big smile on the screen here. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, so important. And it's okay if you pipe in. This is not like your typical masterclass, as you can see. Okay, I go with intuition. That's how I roll. That's how I flow. Okay. Ah, wow. So Lashina says, hearing you say this is so aligned, it was just downloaded to me to bring faith to workplace teams.
So my definition of faith, the expanded definition of faith, because people speak faith as in denomination, but faith is so much bigger than that. And that's what people like having faith with in someone is not any denomination, but
Mhm.
it's the belief and confidence. And so I'm really being guided, and I know you've been on this journey with me, Anne, about, working with women, but it is bigger than that. When you said the societal part, like it's bigger than just women. It's the collective. It's getting into these companies, these organizations, these teams that are stressing people out and they're going back home and projecting this trauma and stress on families that's impacting the whole world. So let's start at the core. They're going to work anyway. Let's get them there.
Preach. Let's go. I love it. Yes. Yes! Let's get the gospel music. Cue. I love it. Absolutely. You got to go in. There's a reason you've been in corporate, right?
Yeah.
Now you got to get in there and infiltrate like you have been and do your thing from the inside out, outside in. Yes, and it's not just women, but it's the woman, right? When they rise, they find their voice, like Asheen said, right? Then we affect the entire collective. Yeah. Oh my. Oh, by the way, Asheen is a
I won't just,
So
I,
amazing, Tina.
I just can't. I literally, my tagline is co-creating organizations from the inside out. And you just said that.
Wow.
I didn't know that was your tagline. I got the essence on it. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, taking it right from the yoni out, baby.
Such affirmation. Thank you.
Love it. No, you're so welcome. You know, I'm feeding into your energy. So I'm just bringing back what you're feeding to me. You do realize that. Okay. Um, so all right, yeah, Tracy, we've spoken too. Where are you? Oh, I think they're right along there with me because of the level of sexual trauma that you've experienced. Um, that you are you have a big, big role in helping to break down and deprogram related to the sexual misery programs. I think there's going to be a certain level of disclosure as well. That is a role that you play, at least initially, in small circles. You are also going to be helping women to reclaim their sacred sexuality and to heal their sexual trauma. I know you're an energy shaman, so you're probably already doing that to some level. And I think at some point it's going to become more laser focused. And you talked about softening. And as you soften and embody even more of the divine femininity, as we all are doing, I think you're going to see that you align more and more with that purpose. And we talked about that eventually we could be collaborating. I do see that vision in the future. And I think it's powerful in a lot of different ways. So you, my dear, when we talk about this, and I know some of your trauma because you've shared some of it, like Asheen said, we're being guided to share more authentically and to be able to connect and to be in our power. The voice is so, so important. And that comes from a healed yoni. Okay. When we heal that, we step into confidence. We speak our truth. We speak with boundaries. We speak authentically. We're not afraid what others are going to think. Guess what? This is my truth. And if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, oh well. So I really see you as you got to, darling, you're going to be out there. And so, you've got to be prepped. This is none of what we're doing here is for, and I don't want to say the word meek because that's been mistranslated, I believe, the word meek from the Bible. Um, Not meek in the way that, anyways, there's a real meaning for the word meek. So we are in a meek way, gentle, feminine way, yet strong. Okay, so that's basically what I came up with. So yeah. So I'm excited to be amongst this group of women right here. And for anyone watching the replay, because I know we've got some strong sisters out there, even those who have not been able to make the live calls. Okay, so with that all being said, I would like to, because of what you shared yesterday, Tracy, related to the uterus, is I thought of something called the Hope and Noah prayer. I don't know if I said that right. How do you say it?
I think it's pronounced Ho'opono.
Thank you.
Ho'opono.
Okay. Okay. I looked at
It's Ho'oponopono. I believe it is Ho'oponopono.
Ho'opono. There we go.
Yeah.
anyway, I had to look it up and like do a copy and paste because I was like, okay, it is a Hawaiian prayer, really basic, simple, but repeating it, it is said, and I've done it, and this I just was reminded of this, that it's a way to like self-reconcile. It's a self-healing prayer, so to speak. And as often as you repeat it, you're literally like cultivating, they say forgiveness, love, and gratitude. So there is power in words. Of course, we're going to bring the physiology into it. So what I'm going to invite all of you to do right now for you, it all of us, we can, if there's somewhere else on your body that you want to go to, but let's put left hand on the heart, Okay. We always want to connect the heart. That's the seat of the soul. We're heart led as divine feminines. We come from the heart,
Yes.
lead from the heart. That's the seat of the soul, unconditional love. So I always like to bring it to the heart. Okay. And then the other hand, I'm going to put mine on my abdomen because I'm going to put it on my yoni. Okay. I'm going to tap into the yoni and the cervix. However, if there's somewhere else on your body that you intuitively guided to connect to, then do it. Okay. So like Tracy's got one on the neck. Okay. Wherever you feel like you want to do that. And you're literally going to speak to your body. And you can close your eyes when you do this. And the prayer is simply this: I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Only you know what that means. I'm going to repeat that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Nice breath to kind of anchor that in. All right. Yeah. Feel that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you're ready to come back, you can come back. Okay. Yeah. You know what that means for you. You know what that means for you. Your body's been talking to you for a very long time. Now we're going to start talking back to our bodies and reconnecting to our body to see we're in this mental realm. I'm going to stop for a moment. I'm just going to hold some sacred space for Tracy. Yeah, there you go. Feel that. You know where to go. Yeah. Is there a way that we can support you further right now, Tracy?
Oh, I'm sorry. What you say?
Do not be sorry. I'm just asking if there's a way that we can further support you right now.
Um, ooh, okay. I didn't expect that. I've done Ho'oponopono prayer before. I've done it with a partner before so I've never necessarily done it just with myself. But like you said, I felt led to put one hand on my neck, and it was connected to when you spoke earlier and you said about, I think you said 90% of shame is carried. And ooh,
Yeah. You don't need to hang on to that. Give that right back to sender, right back to sender.
and I've been carrying for my mother. I've been carrying since she created this point of energy, I don't know what you call it, energetic trauma right here that is, it was physical but energetic. She created that through the sexual ritual.
Yeah. Yeah.
She choked me, and then I had the final injury to my neck to keep me shut down was from my ex-husband, who was a combination of mother and her partner, like literally. So I've been healing from that injury particularly, but I've been healing all the way back to the beginning. So I literally could feel when I said I apologize, or I can't remember what you said. I forgive myself, or I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I
So
was
I'm sorry.
talking to myself.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
please
Yes,
forgive me.
please forgive me. I'm
And
sorry. Please forgive me. It started literally just
okay,
like the painting.
okay. Do you know something?
So the release and all that, I was carrying my mother's shame that I didn't know. And she should feel ashamed for what she did.
For her to feel. You don't need to take that on. You've
But
taken
I don't need to carry it.
no.
And I don't know why I carry it like that. Because I'm even right now, I'm speaking it and I just feel so bad.
You don't
I
need to.
feel so bad. Like, why would you do this to? Why would you do this? Why? Like, what would make you do something like that?
Yeah, yeah. It's her own pain and her own trauma.
And I don't have to carry it because I can't go into the details because it's so much. I just can't, right? But my mother reached out to me on my birthday, and I hadn't heard from her in years, and I'd separated I energetically released her. I like detached everything. And it's just so I don't know, so fitting that she would appear as usual when I'm going through a major transformation, like I have a whole rebirth. And she appeared and she sent me a message and said, happy 50th birthday in all caps. It said, um, I love you and I miss you in my life. And I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was, I bet you do. Because you've been feeding off my light since you stole it from me. So to have that all these things coming right now, like it just my tears are not because I'm like sad or upset or I'm actually very happy,
A relief.
despite what it looks like.
I'm happy for you. And you see, yeah, she's trying to get her way in, but that manipulation, right?
Right.
Her light.
I didn't respond. It didn't break me down. I didn't react.
Mm.
I chose not to respond and I didn't react because that reaction is something that I would always do. Like it was something that, oh, she loves me. Oh, yes. Oh, and it would cause me to overlook the non-loving, the multitude of lifetime non-loving expressions towards me.
So now that was just a beautiful act of self-love
Yes.
for yourself.
It was an act of self-love for me to release this. Because I've already said, here, take your shit back. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I already said, take
No,
your stuff back.
can
you
I tell you
know,
something? Your energy, I didn't have this planned. I went in yesterday and I adapt according to my intuition and what shows up. And my intuition says you need to share that prayer, and this is how you're going to do it. That was you on a soul level speaking to my soul, and I just tapped in and I said, okay, we're going to do that. That's the power of co-creation. If I can 1 minute, I'm just here like as a willing facilitator, you know. If for one reason I have a thought that this is all me, no, that's the ego. That's the ego, right? So somehow
and
we,
that's why I feel safe.
yeah,
That I can tell you that's why I feel safe. You're doing things on the background that we don't know. You
yeah.
know what I mean? And you're doing the right things. You're doing the divinely aligned things. You're doing the healing thing. You're not in the background, you know, where your focus is on healing, and you know that your abundance will come through what you're doing. Your focus isn't on the abundance via trying to help someone heal, if you understand what I'm saying, because that doesn't allow for the actual authenticity of healing to come through.
Yeah, I agree with you
Because
100%.
I didn't know I needed this. I didn't know I needed what just happened.
Yeah,
So that's that safe space that you've created.
I appreciate you.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Okay, so any quick feedback from Machine or Lashina about that right there?
It felt really good, and I've heard that in some ways before. And it was I felt this movement. I feel like the tip of some movement. So I really want to do that some more. Let me put it that way.
Love it. What about you, Machine? Anything?
Uh, I have to say, since I met you, I haven't stopped crying. A lot of releases.
Say the same,
There's been a lot of releases.
which is
Um, when I was doing the Ho'oponopono prayer, I mentioned the teething that took place that I was around. I'm feeling like a lot of this is surfacing for me right now. It's like unprocessed wound around that. And it started with the culture. It was in my marriage with my ex. There was like, oh my God, horrendous. And because of that, it's created this like recently I'm going through this debilitating release from it and stuff like that. And so um yeah, I don't have much words in this moment, but what I can say is there's a lot that I'm recently processing, releasing, that I thought, you know how it goes. You think you've taken care of that, and now it's coming up in like the deepest ways, and it is affecting my connection with my person and stuff like that. So thanks again.
I know you
Thank
know.
you so much for this.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the thing. We think we're done because we've gone through such intense layers, and then there's another layer. Um, and this is, let me just see where we are for time. So I want to make sure that I'm mindful of the time. Okay. So I think emotional purging, I think we need releasing. I think we realize how important that is. I put together a PDF that, like, just some quick examples of how you know when you're ready to purge. Just some quick examples. Most of you probably already know. And then a quick step by step is what I typically do when I know I'm ready. And I actually made a playlist. I call it initiating an emotional purge. Like I listen to a God frequency or any different type of healing frequencies. I actually put in a couple of my songs, which I know were divinely co-created to help people to heal. And so I'm going to share that playlist. I'm going to share those PDFs. We were going to do a square breath today. We might not get to that. But what I do want to focus on, because we've got about 7 minutes left, is that prioritizing your health. And I think it's evident right here today that that's really important. The releasing, the healing, the next layer, because in releasing and healing, it means that you're going to be able to reconnect with yourself and with others. You're going to get through that next hurdle, or however we might look at it. And you use the word debilitating, um, and it's interesting because to me, it's more about, okay, I have to step back, and I don't want to step back. It's really a challenge when you feel like you're starting to make this forward movement, things are happening, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I need to step back. And that's the feminine energy. It's high tide, low tide, high tide, low tide. And it's knowing when to and being okay with it. You see, a patriarchal society has taught us, especially as women, that it is not okay to step back and take time to heal. It is not okay to ask for support and to ask for help. I mean, I've been on a very deep healing journey for 16 years now. And like Tracy, I'm like, is it ever gonna, and I've had moments where great stuff was happening and I was on a roll and clients were coming to me and this was happening. And then somehow I ended up in Italy. And for the pretty much the entire time that I've been in Italy, which is 3.5 years, I've been on a deeply, intensely transformative journey. And the last year has involved really taking a deep dive into healing my sexual trauma and reclaiming my sacred sexuality and learning techniques and tools and whatnot. And I'm actually leaving next week. I'm done. I'm going to my next stop. But what it's done, it's aligned me. So what I've done, and I know I've shared this before, I literally on my healing journey, I've sold houses and I've moved to other areas of the country so that I could get a big chunk of money. I've taken out I was a teacher in a past life, so I took out, my retirement. So I could move, downsize. I've downsized. I've sold all my belongings. At one time, I had two outfits. I had an Airbnb in my house. I had slept on a mattress in the living room. I've refinanced, I've taken out loans, I've borrowed money, and finally it got to the point where like I just exhausted all my resources. But my father made a very, very smart investment at 55. We went from lawn furniture to all of a sudden, and I was already in college, so we already had to go through the sticky stuff I was already like an adult, but by the time it happened for him, all of a sudden the house was getting done over. They were going on like vacations all of a sudden. He went from like one pair of pants and a t-shirt for 30 years to like, okay, I'm going to get some nice clothes now. So it was very unexpected. So literally, I would say he became a millionaire after struggling financially for our whole life. He literally became a millionaire within months because helped to sell my grandmother's house. He got half of it, and he was just your basic CPA, city CPA, but he invested it. And he ended up becoming a millionaire. So he's since passed on and he's still making money off that. My mother inherited that money. And so like she lives simply. She doesn't live high off the hog. And yet the first time I asked to borrow money, she goes, "What do you need?" "Sure." And I tell you, the more I'm like, oh my God, now I've got to do this. I'm being guided to this healer. I'm being guided to this retreat. How can I ask for more money? Because in the meantime, I kept coming up with programs. I kept going. I was working. I was doing this. I was like hustling, really hustling behind the scenes. And it was like, nope, nope, nope. And I would just get I'd say, how am I going to come up with the money? Like you're telling me to do this. I got 15 people. You gave me the names. 15 people out of 15 said they were in. And then all of a sudden, oh, I lost my job today. This happened. What do you want from me? We just want to show that you're willing. My mother, and I have no shame because the big part of being a feminine and a divine feminine energy is being able to receive, not just ask, but receive and being okay with receiving. Because if you're not okay with receiving, you're going to block it in some other way, or you're not going to get to receive what you're asking for. And so I've been fortunate because I know that this money somehow was created in my father's life for me and my sister in particular. I went to an ayahuasca retreat. I signed, I got a Sheen as a coach right now. I did Tasha, how do I come up with all this money? Because I'm willing to ask and I'm willing to receive. And then I got to the point where, you know what? I'm also going to ask for some money so that I can buy some new clothes. At first, I felt no, only what I need. 2 years ago, I'm walking around with holes in my sneakers, hand-me-downs, borrowing people's jackets. That's how bad it got. And you don't have to do that. So what I'm saying is, you know what you want, you know what you like to do or choose to do as far as the next level of healing for yourself. But what does that look like? And what changes are you likely going to want to make to ensure that that happens? I asked for help with my kids. I was a single parent, a widow, raising them from a young age. I had to learn to ask for help. And eventually they were helping me to cook meals. They didn't get allowance because guess what? They lived in that house. Okay, so they go to school all day. I was working. So it's being okay with asking for help for physical support, help with childcare, help with picking up and dropping off, like just unloading some of the responsibilities, saying no when you really can't say yes, saying no when you need to say no. I can't give of myself right now. I can't do that right now. That's what it means to embody that divine feminine energy, except society tells us that we can't do it. And if as women, it's important for us to be able to show and to model, especially men in this world, what that looks like. And until women can step up and honor themselves and their own healing, men are not going to be able to do that. It's going to be more challenging for them. Oh, what are you going to tell me to do this? I don't see you doing it, right? And then, like you said, Asheen, surrendering to the how long it might take and to surrendering how deep it can go and to surrender to the fact that, oh my God, I'm still in it. 6 straight months crying every single day, purging every single day. But you got to know I got so much awareness, so many downloads, so much insight, so much growth. It's what's brought me to where I am today. And does that mean I'm done? No, I'm not done. I just know what I need to do to take care of myself so I can show up and be energetically aligned. Like my number one priority today wasn't doing Pilates. I don't remember the last time I did Pilates. I'm like, I didn't even do yoga. I sat in the child's pose today because that's what I needed today. I said, I need to be there for those women. So how am I going to use, I did a guided meditation for 45 minutes. I said, that's what's going to get done today. I can do that though, but I've also created that for myself. So you have children, Asheen. You have your boys with you, Tracy. You have your son, and sometimes your stepson with you. You have, you've got your connection. You've got your husband. So you've got to figure out what that's going to look for like for you. How you're going to be able to downsize your life, literally. How can you downsize your life in a way that's going to give you the space, the time that I'm not going to say need, it's what you choose, which I believe you desire, because you would not be here right now if that's not what you wanted. If that's not what you wanted. So, Tracy, whatever that looks like with the boys there, if there's more that they can be doing, like, I don't know what this, but it's you. You're number one. Asheen, you're number one. Lashina, you're number one. Kids are resilient. I had to learn that. I didn't need to be, others could step in and be there for my kids. And it's one of the best choices I ever made. And now they're so freaking independent. But yeah, that's essentially what I really wanted to impress today. And obviously there was some more, but it just unfolded in a way that I believe it needed to. So I'm going to honor that, and I just pray that you got some value, and I pray that those who watch the replay get some value, because I know I have. I know I have. So yeah, we're going to do some yoni love tomorrow. We're going to awaken some sexy Shakti on Thursday. And we may be doing more releasing, but don't worry. It's not. We're not going to go deep, but we're gonna kind of skirt in there. All right. So that's the deal. So I wanted to ask, what time is it? I don't know. We're already 4 after, but very quickly, did anybody do any daily practicing as far as checking in with the body? Do you want to share quickly how that went?
All right. I did, and I use it as a way to calm myself down, to check in, help myself feel safe. Just like you mentioned earlier that, well, I didn't realize it until you said it earlier. Like that um chronic stress, I want to say. I've been going through some purging times, and
Mm,
it's been nonstop. And it's stuff that I've heard from clients for a really long time. I've even had a client who apologized. I was like, it's not your fault. And so I'm like, this is what this feels like. Oh my goodness, it's been over a month and
mm.
stuff. So yesterday I did the daily check-in. And I feel it's exiting. Well, one part is exiting and stuff. So the daily check-in helps a lot with that.
Good, good. And you know what? I'm going to tell you what you told me. Honor it, darling, because I'm about 6 months in. Because you could still serve.
I'm just like, how much longer? But I just surrender to it, really. I surrender, keep feeling it, let
Yeah,
it roll, and I know bigger things are coming from it.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I know, Lashina, did you want to share?
So I think I might have missed that part in the recording somewhere. However, I do feel as if that's something that's part of my that I've incorporated into my daily day is doing that check-in and what is it that and talking to different parts of my body and what do you need and you are safe and especially with the arm trauma that I've had with this injury and it's been part of helping it to heal and to so I need to catch the replay to make sure I'm doing it the way that you're sharing it.
You're doing it.
Okay, okay.
You don't need to do anything. Don't add anything else. If the prayer
Yes.
works for
Um,
you,
um,
it's that. You don't need to do anything.
That's the new way I'm saying it from now on.
And I'm an MC, right? Lift die. I'm gonna work on that. Okay, so we are gonna do a closing prayer. So, like I said, I'm just gonna throw those playlists and everything out there. If you know you're ready to purge some more, just do it. Find that space, find that sacred sanctuary, and take the time for yourself to do it. I got a bunch of PDFs, and here's the deal: they're for you to access whenever and if you want. There is no pressure. I'm doing this just to support you. Okay, that's how I'm being guided. So I'm, oh my God, you're gonna have to do anything with them. Okay. So with that, let's that closing prayer. Let's give thanks. Ooh, this session is complete, and I would like to thank God and your team for the gift of your presence and for helping these women to heal in significant ways that they readily recognize. We so thank you for the increased awareness, for helping us to expand our consciousness and helping us to be able to share and support each other and to activate each other in this most beautiful sacred space. Thank you. And so it is. That's it, my queen goddesses. So we'll see you on Thursday, Lashina. Okay. We got Yoni Love tomorrow. Y'all have a beautiful day. Okay, I'm gonna go eat dinner. Much
Thank
love.
you.
You're so,
Bye.
you're so
Thank you. I can't wait to hear the replay on tomorrow.
love you all. Bye, Chona.
Love you.